Hello, and welcome to the iGameOver channel. Okay, so today we're going to have a hardware hour. We'll see if anyone will have any questions. The basic idea behind the hardware hour is that every week I'm going to come around, and you will be able to ask me any sort of computer hardware related questions. So. Just about my credentials a little bit. I've been building computers for many years now. I have a very extensive PC expertise. You could say I know a thing or two about actual PCs and how they're made. I've been building them for years, and I've been helping people with them for years. I actually started my computer related adventure in 1993, so that was sometime before Windows actually existed. I'm that old. I know it doesn't show, but I'm actually that old. Nice cider. So yeah, we'll just see if anyone is going to come around, and in the meantime we're just going to find something to do. Maybe we can watch another Twitch gaming until someone comes around. We shall see. Or some YouTube videos, or anything like that. Let's see if this has posted. Yes, it's posted. Nice. So I actually managed to set up the software finally to post to Twitter when I go live. So I just checked it. It works. Awesome. So yeah, we'll just wait until someone comes around and asks any question. In the meantime, let's see what we can talk about. What is there on the interwebs nowadays? Gizmodo is saying... What is Gizmodo saying? Let me post this for you. At source webpage. So Gizmodo, right here, is saying that Elon Musk clarifies his plans to nuke Mars. Seriously? To those that don't know, Elon Musk is possibly one of the more rich person in the world, and he's the owner of Tesla Motors, the one that has really nice electric cars, and he's heavily invested in some rather expensive projects like SpaceX and so on and so forth. But what does he want now? Was having a series of very large by our standards but very small by calamity standards, essentially having two tiny pulsing suns over the poles. They're really above the planet, not on the planet. Interesting. Yeah, well, so he basically wants for some reason to nuke Mars. Yeah, way to go. Right, way to go. So yeah, let's see if we can find anything else that is interesting. Let's see, maybe we can find some hardware related news. Now, by any means, this is not a sponsored show, so I'm completely independent here. There are a couple of websites that I very much like when it comes to hardware related stories, and they all do by writing. They do reviews and such. So Kid Guru and eTechnics, I need to give a good shout out to them because they're pretty awesome. The guys are pretty awesome, and especially in eTechnics, they tend to actually engage with their public. So if you have some questions and everything like that, they sometimes tend to answer. So yeah, so we shall see what we can find. All photo shots by Apollo astronauts can be seen on Flickr. That is the story from eTechnics. Let me show you. There we go. Let's get that a little bigger. So yeah, so it seems that yeah, I think I pressed on something. Did I press on something? I think I must have pressed on something. There we go. All Apollo astronaut shots there. So apparently if we head over here, well, that is interesting. That sort of opened my download folder for some reason. But anyway, these are pretty epic shots. Our little blue planet and surface of the moon. That is pretty epic. Wouldn't it be cool to actually be able to get there? Not in our lifetime, I suppose. That is super epic. Although that kind of shot like the last one here, you could possibly do with a good camera and a really, really good zoom lens, or a camera connected to maybe some sort of yeah, observatory of some sort. So yeah, so that for example. Okay, well, doesn't seem anyone is here yet to ask any questions. Then we'll just continue. When we run out of news, maybe we can use, you know, maybe we can watch some video together or something. Oh, here's something interesting. It doesn't seem like there goes a week without some sort of breach, right? Something gets hacked, or something gets stolen. Someone, you know, had, you know, 5 million customers on their laptop that they took home, which I cannot possibly stress enough how wrong it is. Here is there. Millions of T-Mobile customer records stolen in data hack. So yeah, names, addresses, social security numbers, dates of birth, driver license numbers, passport numbers, military ID numbers, and you know, other stuff. So yeah, it's a pretty major breach. 15 million T-Mobile customers. Wow, that is quite something. Well, you know, anymore. That's a sort of a really good reason to take your, you know, maybe encrypt your phone if you can, because some phones actually can be encrypted. I don't think Apple has this on their iPhones just yet. I know that with the latest iteration of their system for the computers with El Capitan, you can actually encrypt your disk, which is something that I've done with my Mac. But I don't think you can do it on their phones just yet. I know that certain Android phones do have that option. I don't know if all Androids have that option. I don't think so, but I think certain Android phones do have that option, and I totally can't speak for Windows because I do not know if Windows phones have actually some sort of form of encryption. Windows phones are just generally quite simpler, you know. They don't have that many apps and so on and so forth. They're really good for general day-to-day usage, but yeah, those are not really app related phones. Let's see. What else? Well, so apparently there are some reports of the new iPhone 6s and 6 Plus randomly powering down. Is this a surprise that something is going wrong? No, it is not. Those phones get more and more powerful, and they get thinner and thinner, and you know what? Who knows? Maybe they overheat. The circuits are really, you have to understand that the processor in any sort of electronic device will overheat, because that's the byproduct of actual processing, actual working. And if this is not dissipated properly, then well, you have a problem. The same will happen in your actual computer, right? So if you don't have a decent cooling, if you don't have enough funds, if you don't have enough airflow in your case, or something is not adequate cooling to your processor or graphics card, you will end up having random shutdowns, and that's about it, right? I mean, in the worst case scenario, you could actually damage your computer. You could fry your processor, or you could fry your graphics card. Although more and more this is less of a case, because that was really something that could happen several years ago. Nowadays, you think the whole thing is a little bit more dynamic, right? So if your processor is running at certain speed, let's say 4 gigahertz, like certain i7 processors are running, if you run it too hot, it will throttle down. So instead of running at 4, it will run maybe at 3 or 3.2, because less gigahertz, the less work it has to do, the cooler it will be. So it will compensate like that, but you'll lose, a decent amount of performance to it. Same applies for graphic cards nowadays. They sort of, overheat, and if your graphics card running on more than 80 degrees, then I would say you have a problem, right? I mean, everything nowadays comes with some sort of standard coolers. I mean, some Intel processors don't, but it doesn't really matter. I would always advise to go for a third-party cooler, right? You don't have to go for something expensive. There are few that are not that expensive, and they actually work very, very well. My one recommendation, if I can find it, is where is it now? Processor cooling. Yes, Arctic Cooling Freezer 7 Pro, right? That would be one thing that I could recommend you getting, because it's really cheap. It's only about $20, and it's actually really quiet. There's a little bit of a pain to installing this, because it's relatively large. It's not heavy, so once you install it and you have it properly attached and everything like that, it's good. It's easy to install because it actually doesn't have any backplate, so you don't actually have to take out your motherboard, put that sort of like a cross bracket at the back, and screw any screws there and everything like that. They sort of install a little bit like the Intel's own coolers of the old. It has those pins that you just push in, and that's it. It's just that I wish they would have fixed that fan mounting, because in order to be able to push those pins properly, you will actually have to get this fan out of the cooler, which is really easy. But to put it back is a bit of a pain. And those and the fins that are I cut myself numerous times on them, so yeah, I would watch out. Nevertheless, it's a really good cooler for the money. It is way better than your average sort of stock cooler that you could get in a package, and you could actually even overclock with it, no problem. And it's quiet, So yeah, no problem there. Obviously, if you can invest more. If you want to overclock more, then I would probably suggest getting some sort of, water cooling on, even if it's just in the form of the kit. Although high-end Noctuas, for example, will have the same air cooling capacity as the, say, some Corsair water cooler. So it's whatever you want, right? But have some sort of decent cooling. Okay, what is more? Malware. Okay, that is a surprise. Wifatch, the vigilante malware. So there is a malware that, yeah. What does it do? Well, it spreads, right? Let's see. The malware doesn't just infect your router and use it to spread to others. It closes off potentially dangerous loopholes and bugs on your router. Okay, well, that is interesting. So this doesn't exactly install on your computer. This actually infects your router, and there sort of goes from there. Well, every week there is some sort of malware coming out. I'll never actually fully understand why people do malware, because I mean, everything gets patched and everything like that. So, but I guess it's all about the money, huh? Well, hey, good news for gamers. Batman Arkham Knight is returning to Steam. And I really hope it'll be working better than the original, because when it came around, it was absolutely horrible. Like, horrible. There were jokes that were made about that game. No optimization, buggy textures, stability issues. Like, oh my god, it was more wrong with that game than there was right. So yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm very much in a apple cider mood today. Well, still nobody. I guess we're not going to be sitting here for an entire hour if no one shows up. But well, let's keep doing this. It'll turn from hardware hour to news hour. Japan displays conveys prototype 8K screen. Oh my god, this is okay. Which one of you has enough hardware to drive 4K? Okay, and seriously, 8K is just so too early. There's not even really much of content. I actually had a 4K screen. By the way, thanks to eTechnics for actually asked them what would be their recommendation, and they did, and it was awesome. I mean, don't get me wrong, 4K has a amazing quality. I have a 4K TV. It's really great, but to drive that thing, it's just insane. You really need some very, very high-end graphics card and the processor. You just basically need high-end everything. And more likely than not, you're not going to get away without having running two graphics cards, an SLI or Crossfire. It's not going to happen. And I got rid of it because it was making me sick. I mean, 60 hertz per second is some people will have enough to it. It was actually making me sick. I switched to 144 hertz 1080p screen instead. But the quality wise was amazing, don't get me wrong, the GTA 5 on 4K was absolutely mind blowing, you know. But yeah, 8K, like like I had I don't even understand, seriously. And they plan to announce it for a 17-inch screen. I mean, seriously. Wow. I'm not entirely sure why. This seems rather pointless to me, and way too early. I understand that some manufacturers want to. They don't even plan on selling this too much, right? Because you gotta understand that this is going to be very expensive. So yeah, this is generally no point for general consumer like you and I. It's not going to make any difference whatsoever. Not at all, and we wouldn't be able to even to drive it. I reckon you would probably need 2 graphics cards just to be able to display, images properly, and they will be probably stitched from 2 4K images. So, yeah, I don't think so. Okay, so there's a question on eTechnics. Has the PlayStation 4 Update 3.0 made some games unplayable? Right? I don't think so. Not in my experience. All the games that I have are running perfectly fine. The console itself is running perfectly fine. Yeah, I sort of don't have any problem with it. So, I mean, I would love to hear from you. So this video will obviously be uploaded to YouTube, later on tonight. So feel free to leave your comments. I would actually love to hear if you have any issues with PlayStation 4 after that update. And more about this ad block. Okay, so ad block has been a bit of a controversy here because they introduced this plugin that was running in Chrome and Safari, and it sort of blocks the ads, right? That's what it does. And it was pretty good at it too. I have to admit, I was using this myself. But then it turned out that AdBlock was taking money from big companies like Facebook or Google, etc., right? From the big companies that can afford it, to actually not block the ads that are coming from them, which is very questionable and really ugly business tactic, isn't it? And they've done it behind our backs too, because no one knew about it. They just got caught. And yeah, so just to make a point, I stopped using them because I do believe that there has to be certain level of transparency in companies. I'm actually a customer service specialist, and I have always been trained to be as transparent with the customer as possible, and that is not transparent at all. Okay, like not transparent whatsoever. And then yeah, in all new stunning news here, it turns out that Outlook has a new owner, which could be good, but no one knows who it is. So again, even less transparency. So yeah, way to go, AdBlock. You're definitely going to go down at some point because people will stop using you. See, this always bugs me a little bit when companies do that. One of the reasons why I was off of Facebook for considerable amount of time, because I just didn't agree with the way they've done business, and I sort of it always has to be a give and take relationship, not just take. And lots of people tend to think that, wow, Facebook so good, much wow, it's a great, and it's it's a great tool, and it's free, and so we get everything. Not true, because if you use Facebook, you're sort of like this volunteer that provides all the information that Facebook needs in order to sell ads. That's how they make their money. And as long as you're aware of that and you're okay with that, then you're good to go. And yes, it is a genuinely useful tool when you accept that. For a longer time I couldn't accept that because I wasn't getting very much from it, and that the way Facebook introduces new updates, whereas they put something and people don't like it, but Facebook's approach is you'll get used to it, right? And that sort of bothered me perhaps more than it should. But nowadays I'm back. Actually, I made a Facebook page for that specific channel here and on YouTube because those that know me know that I've been putting different hardware and gaming videos on YouTube for several years. And so I've made that Facebook page for the channel, and I've been quite very overwhelmed by the amount of response I get. I mean, over 2,600, nearly 2,700 likes so far. So I'm really quite super impressed of how is it going, and very thankful for all the likes and all the following. So if you haven't liked it yet, I would suggest you head over to it. I'm going to maybe post it later. But if you just look for iGameOver, you'll see it's going to be good. So I'll definitely entice you to go and check it out, as well as my YouTube channel, because there's actually plenty of interesting videos there. I might be a little biased, but hey. Okay. Let's see. Let's do the one more news, shall we? Some sort of good news, good hardware news, and we'll see. Maybe someone will come because it's been half an hour now, and I don't think anyone is coming today. Okay. Okay, so prices of DDR3 and DDR4 memory continue to drop. This is courtesy of Kid Guru. I'm going to post it now. There. And so prices of that memory is set to drop and decline further. So it's actually really good news, because if the prices of memory go down, I would suggest you upgrade your memory, because if you have less than 8 GB memory, you really should. You really should upgrade your memory. That's like beyond that, because right now most of the people will have 8 GB, and lots and lots of people will have 16, and I can assure you that 16 will become just basically a standard really soon. And if you're into content creation, something that I touched upon in one of my YouTube channel videos about RAM memory, then even 16 gigs is not enough, right? You have to have more. So 32 gigs would be nice. Probably a good idea if you have a little bit of a spare cash for your upgrades. Probably a good idea to do the memory upgrade right now, because when the memories are, because eventually the price will fluctuate and it's going to go up, and and you're going to be thinking, I wish I would have upgraded there, because now it's very expensive. So I would definitely advise people to upgrade their memory now. But hey, anyway, I think that hardware hour will be more like a hardware half an hour because it doesn't seem anyone is coming today. And I totally understand that. This Saturday, people probably want to, you know, go out and party, or something, or sleep after a long week. So, or just, I don't know, watch the movie, play a game, whatever. So, yeah. But if you've seen this, then thank you very much for coming. And if you haven't, then head to YouTube in probably an hour or so. This video should be there. And yeah, head to my Facebook page. I'm going to post it there as soon as it is done. And so yeah, thanks a lot for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Probably next time we'll be streaming some cool game. So yeah, take care people. See you.